Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining me, the Cajun Khajiit, for this walkthrough and trophy guide of Hell Is Us. If you haven't already, hit those like and subscribe buttons. And you can also follow me on PSN if you like. I am LilyPad22, and you should recognize my icon as 6 from Little Nightmares. So follow me on all of those to always keep up to date of when I'm putting out a new guide or a Let's Play, which I occasionally do. I actually picked up Hell Is Us on release day, and I've been hanging on to it ever since. I knew this would be a lot of work, and it was, but it was totally worth it. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Remy, and I thought the ideas were quite good. Hopefully the creators can elaborate a little bit more on it later on. I'm hoping. That remains to be seen. But in the meantime, let's jump right in. So I played through this game 3 times total, and my first playthrough when I was learning everything, I chose balanced. I recommend balanced. It is difficult where it needs to be, and if you enjoy combat, I definitely would go with balanced. For this playthrough, I am going to choose lenient, just because it will take a lot less time to get rid of enemies, just for the purposes of this playthrough. Here, I think I did choose to enable tutorials just for you guys. Do take note of the warnings. I personally don't think they're necessary, but you know, everyone's got a CYA. So once you're done with all of those pleasantries, we're gonna get an opening cutscene. I will be skipping all cutscenes up until the credits. I will let the credits roll to give my final thoughts. Everything else, to avoid spoilers, I will skip. I highly recommend that on your first playthrough, you watch the credits, and I also highly recommend reading everything that you pick up. If you enjoy storytelling in your games, this is going to be very, very useful. So here we are as Remy. This is where we start in just some regular clothes. So let's run down this hill here, and when you see you can drop off the side and not hurt yourself here, turn to the right and head up the creek. You'll see a little glowing spot there. This is going to be our first collectible, a research item, the gold medallion. We're going to be holding on to a whole bunch of research items to begin with, because we don't have what and who we need in order to actually perform the research just yet. So you don't have any, there's no limited inventory space. You can carry as much or as little as you like. Head back over to the path and just follow it around. You're going to cross over a small bridge and pass through a very small graveyard. And then we are going to come up on a house that is partially demolished. We need to go down into the basement. That box there, this is for saving. This is you will make all your saves on those glowing boxes. Here, when we come into this room, immediately to the right, there is a recording that you can listen to, but these are not counted for any trophies. Here you get a little tutorial on conversations. I will show you when we talk to this man here. His name's Ernest. When we talk to him, you'll get an idea of how conversations go. You can talk and trade with most NPCs. When you do talk to him, he'll say a couple of things. I'm going to skip most of the dialogue.
You're welcome to stay in Caddell.
On the left side, it's investigation. So anytime you're talking to an NPC, you want to exhaust all investigation dialogue. On the right side, there is general knowledge dialogue. If you're interested in the story and you really want to know what's actually going on,
It's in
and
Acasa Marshes.
the
It's right away.
conflict,
A
and
group of strange.
there's a war going on, and there's two different
Where can I
sides.
find the APC?
If you want to know about all that,
They parked their
definitely
APC just
exhaust
beyond
all
the
the
woods,
general
to the
knowledge,
north.
but you do
I
not
live in
have
the
to
trees, so my
in order
son-
to progress with the NPCs. Just exhaust all of the investigation dialogue. Once you're finished speaking to Ernest, he'll give you a key so that we can leave his property. And when an NPC tells you about a new area, you will have access to it. So we can now travel to Acasa Marshes. However, we don't have a way to travel there yet. It's just there for when we do. Please take note of all the dead cows, and there is one cow here which actually looks like it's standing in a ray of sunshine. You're going to want to take notice of everything here. There is no map. Occasionally you will get like crude maps or very, very simple maps, but they can only be used at certain times in certain areas. So take note of everything and try to remember where things are, because in order to figure out all of these different puzzles, you're going to have to be very vigilant. Here, when we unlock the fence, we want to follow the fence along to the left and go into these ruins here for another research item that is the Scorched Bell. Please don't forget to pick that up. Continue along, you'll come down on this other side of the ruins. This all may look very confusing, but I promise you it's not. This is a very, very small area. And it's pretty hard to get lost because Ernest told us earlier we need to follow the wind chimes. So in order to get to where we need to go, you want to follow the wind chimes. Here, I just circled around to the right and went around the log to pick up some orders over there by the truck. Those are not necessary. I'm just showing you where they are. Continue along following the wind chimes. This old truck here is a nice landmark. It's also in a ray of sunshine. Continue following the path and you will come up on this large truck, and there is a man here. You do want to speak to him. This wounded soldier, you want to exhaust his investigation dialogue.
I'm not sure how I got here. Oh. Who has the APC key?
He's going to tell us how to find the APC key once we help him. He obviously needs some medical attention and does not have a med kit, so we're going to go and get it for him. Come up around these ruins here and follow this path. This path is pretty straightforward. You'll see there are trees marked with X's, and that is going to help you know where to find the campsite that they're using. See that blue cairn up there? I don't know if you noticed it. We're going to have to get to that in a little bit. First, we want to stop off at this yellow one here, and we get a hint for the Caddell treasure, and then we'll also get a tutorial about equipable items. This is going to start our first mystery. Throughout the entire game, there are 43 mysteries in total. That's a lot of mysteries, but I promise you by the end we will get them all. Just continue following this path. Most of these paths they make circles, sort of. Like you may see splits where you could go left or right. See, there's a red cairn. We need to go up to that. So here we'll split off to the left to go up here and inspect this red cairn, where we find a rusted key. And the treasure note that we saw did give us a hint about this. So obviously we got the yellow and the red. Now we need to go to the blue, but we're going to do that last. In the meantime, we have made our way all the way around to the Omsif camp, which that's just Omsif. I'm not even sure exactly what it means, but that is their military unit. You can pick up the med kit We also have a research item, a vial of strange substance, and then we also have a report here. Now, if you go out the other side of the tent and turn to the right, there's a cave here. We are not supposed to go here yet. However, I did play the demo and I brute forced this. So I figured I would just brute force it again for the video. You have to pick the correct symbols. And what these symbols equate to is the first one is the symbol for terror. The second one is the symbol for admiration. The third one is the symbol for rage. And then the fourth one is the symbol for amazement. That's going to unlock the door, and it will also give us the Vault Raider trophy. This is our first trophy in the game. It shouldn't be, but it is. Inside of this vault, these are vaults of forbidden knowledge, and you're going to find lots and lots of items scattered throughout. We have an Amine prism, Sigma. Over in the corner we have a glyph. Now that was a yellow glyph. It is an ecstasy glyph. This is a red glyph. This is a rage glyph. We'll have several miscellaneous items that you can read. The green glyphs are terror. And then the blue glyphs will be grief. You're going to learn all about the symbols and all these different things as we go along. Don't feel very overwhelmed right now. It may seem a little overwhelming, but it really isn't. It's super easy once you know kind of what's going on. So exit the cave, come back through the tent, and we're going to go... It's going to be on the right that we're going to exit. This path is blocked here. So go to the right of it and we'll be able to find the path again, take to the left and drop down. This is going to take us to the blue cairn where we can use the rusted key to open up this lockbox, and we get the Caddell treasure and the amateur detective trophy, as well as a new defense item. You'll be able to equip defensive items throughout. And we also solved our first mystery for the Caddell family treasure. Now we want to just make our way back down the hill to speak to the wounded soldier and hand over the med kit that we picked up. Now as we work our way back around, we're going to choose to trade with this guy instead of talking to him. Here, you'll just give him the item he requested.
Okay, see that ladder over there? Climb
And
to the top.
he's telling us to climb
Take
the
this.
ladder that's behind him.
You'll need it.
And instead of, giving us the key to the APC, he gives us a mechanism key. So we have another little puzzle to figure out before we can actually get the APC moving. And the APC is the truck, the big truck. So look here, you see there is a pickaxe. It looks like it fell from the ruins. We're going to need that to be able to figure out this next puzzle. If you go around, you'll see that there is fire and an eye, and then it looks like the pickaxe fell off all the way to the right. So insert the ancient mechanism here in this pedestal. And once that's done, we'll have to turn these symbols to be just like the ones we just saw. So choose fire, and then the eye, and then the pickaxe. The ground will shake, and we're going to head back down those ladders. And we'll speak to the wounded soldier again. Throughout this game, sometimes you will find NPCs that you need to progress a story or a mystery or something, and they'll just hand you a key, and other times they make
I
you
know
do
you
something
figured it
like
out.
this.
Now get the APC key so we can get the hell out of here.
So the wounded soldier doesn't have any new investigation dialogue, and we can go into this opening to the right of where he was. Of course, as you go further down, you will get what is eventually going to be shown as a cave-in. But so we can't leave. The only way out is through. Just follow the linear path. When you come up here, you'll get a notice about saving, pretty much. If you die, you will respawn at the last place that you saved. So save often. There's no penalties for saving. On that table, there is a report. Make your save, and then come around through the only open path, and you'll get a cutscene. I am going to skip it. This is going to be your introduction into combat. You will collect a weapon. And you can see the enemy over there. You'll want to press down on the right stick to lock on. And you can use the square for light attack or the triangle for heavy. I typically use light. Especially, you don't really need more than that on easy. There's a door over there. We cannot open it. So go over to the right. You can turn on the flashlight from Cappy, which is your drone. Go around the bookshelves to the right, and there's nothing in this room, but there is a clue as to what the code is for the door. This code is the tower. This the hint here is the tower. Then you want to go straight through these bookshelves. There is a first aid kit there on the dead body. You can go to the left and open up that door. Here on the data pad, I'm just showing you go to the loadout screen. You can add usable items here. So we're going to put a med kit there. The defensive gear, you can see on the side it shows you all the stats for it. I only have one, so I just equipped it because it's the only one that we have. This is your investigation menu where you can see everything that you've learned about people and places related to particular investigations. I did take my time with this while going through it. You can look at your inventory and everything is broken down. So you have like all your weapons are in one place, your defensive gears in one place, items for your drone are in one place. Your glyphs and shards are all in one place. It's really pretty easy to understand, and it's mapped out very, very well. Here in the cosmetics, eventually we will find new caps, so you'll be able to change those. Here it's showing you your health meter and your stamina meter. Come into this room and get rid of the enemy and pick up the little red dot that it drops, because those are shards and we need those for upgrades. On the wall, you can see the twin-headed serpent is our next hint. Then we can go over to the next glowing door, take out the enemy in here as well, and check out the hint, which is the fires of hell. Very, very cheery. Now we can exit back the way that we came and go over to the door that we could not open. And we're going to input the code that we just found into the door. So first, we have to find an image of a tower. Second will be the twin-headed serpent. And finally, we need fire. And the door will open. And we can proceed into the next part of this ruin. There's going to be lots of these things all over the place. You can read them if you like. Sometimes you're going to need them to complete puzzles, and sometimes you won't. I am going to do my very best to always let you know when you need to be paying attention to those types of things. In this room here, there's only one enemy, and sometimes in rooms with cells like this, there are items in them. I don't think there are any on the bottom floor, but once you climb up the ladder, there will be other cells that are open that you can check for items. There's a limbic capacitor. That is for your limbic meter, which is when you're engaged in combat. You know, your health is the red line, your stamina is the green line, and then you have a white line. That is for your limbic capacity. Pretty much, you'll get glyphs that you can use. You can use your weapon as a healing item. Like it'll shrink your limbic skill, but it will increase your health. So that's a way to replenish, but you will also naturally replenish it by fighting enemies. On the third floor, if you go to the left in the first open cell, there is a defense item. I'm going to go into my loadout and equip it now. We might as well get as much defense as we can. Although playing on easy, quite honestly, these items, like your glyphs and your defense items, are much more useful when you play on normal. Take out the enemy here, and there I'm just checking any cells that I didn't check before, and go through this door that has the two blue lights on the side. You can make a save. This tutorial is important. This is the healing pulse. I'm sure you've seen this in other games, but you'll see as you're fighting enemies, you'll get this white circle of particles around you after you make a hit. If you tap R1 when the circle of particles solidifies, you will get a certain amount of health added back. This is extremely useful, especially if you're fighting multiple enemies, or some enemies, even on easy, get pretty tough later on. So practice that and get good at it, because it's going to be very, very helpful. Here, this is pretty much on easy. This is the only part of Cappy that I use. You can click R2 and then circle, and Cappy will go over and distract an enemy, which pretty much means he'll hold it in place for a certain amount of time so that it cannot attack you. And it will stay there until either you hit that enemy or until the time runs out. When you come in through the next room, once you defeat those enemies there, go up the stairs and we'll find a new weapon, the Limbic Twin Axes, which is my favorite weapon in particular. I pretty much use them all the time. I find they're much faster. When you come into this next area, you'll see there are two glowing circles next to this door that we're going to come back later and tend to that because we don't have what we need to open the door right now. Here you have tutorials for parry and riposte or repost. I'm not sure how you say it. The parry can be very useful. It'll stun the enemy. You just basically have to block at the right time. And this is a very good area to practice all that stuff, because I don't think you ever get more than 2 enemies at a time until we leave and get into the trenches. There you can see I used Cappy to stun that enemy and keep it in place while I took out the other one. And then you'll see, if you see in the bottom right corner, you have to wait for that skill to charge up again. There is also, you'll find bypasses, drone bypasses scattered around. Here in this room, you can pick up the Ramhead Medallion. We're going to be using that on that door we just saw with the circles, but we need 2, so we don't have enough. We're not going to go back yet. Here, go left through this pile of bones, and you'll see that the wall is broken behind it. When you get to this door to open it, you will have a different enemy that's much larger. And if you see, all the enemies have a 1 next to them. They are level 1 enemies, which means they give level 1 shards. You're going to get level 2 and 3 later on. Each of those will give corresponding shards, which we will need to upgrade weapons and defense gear. Open up this door, you'll see we get a drone bypass. So basically, oh, and we have a deployment order and the APC key as well. The drone bypass, basically, you'll get drone modules that will allow Cappy to do more and more complex things that will help you in your fighting. Some of them take longer to recharge than others, so you can use a drone bypass to essentially speed up that time. Here, when you see this yellow glowing dot, you want to go and pick that up because it is a gold watch, and we will need that for a good deed. And there are 26 good deeds scattered throughout the entire game, and we are going to get all of them. You really can't get lost here. Just work your way through these trenches. When you get to this table here, you can pick up a med kit and some food. The food will replenish your stamina. Here we get our first linked enemy. That means it has a variant inside of it of either rage, terror, ecstasy, or grief. This one is rage variant. It will spit that out of its insides, and you cannot hurt the Hollow Walker itself until you get rid of the haze. Once you get rid of the haze, then you can go and take out the enemy. If you take too long, it will spit the haze out again. Before we go over up to those ruins, we're going to head back toward these trenches because there are a couple of places that we couldn't get to yet. So work your way up here and across, and where these Hollow Walkers are laying down, don't be fooled. They are playing possum. When you get close enough, they will wake up and you can take them out. Don't forget to pick up all the little red shards that they drop. Also, again about the shards, if you defeat a haze enemy that has that colorful cloud inside of them, those give regular shards as well as shards for that particular variant. Here I'm just adding different things to the usable item loadout. I don't think, even in my normal playthrough, I might have used a meal maybe once. But you'll get different glyphs and things that will help with that too. This is an area of the trench that we were not able to go to before. You can see our weapon leveled up. It will naturally level up throughout the course of fighting. And once it gets to level 5, it won't go any higher until you actually upgrade the weapon. And all weapons can be upgraded to level 5. All defense items can be leveled up to level 4. Here, these trenches are really not, there's not a lot of them, and you really can't get lost. There's always a path out no matter where you go. So just find your way out, take out the enemy, and you can see from the top here, it's pretty straightforward. We're gonna head over to this guy here. It is another rage variant haze. There you can see I did parry it. As you can see, we get neutral shards and rage shards. And right next to that, he was guarding this little area here. You want to come down in here and you can hear someone talking. We don't have what we need to open up this door, but if you talk to the woman, she's going to ask you for help. We're not going to be able to help her for quite a while, but you do need to keep that in mind and not forget that she's there. Because we do have to let her out. Here, I'm just making another quick pass over here. I'm trying to look down into these trenches just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. When you come up here, this all connects. So you can this is, oh well, here's a haze enemy that is an ecstasy variant. All of the hazes, they have different attack sets depending on the color. See that cave there? We're going to come back in the very last video is when we're finally going to come through that cave. So head up here into these ruins. There's nothing that we can do now, but there is a limbic door here. We're going to have to find these special rods that are going to unlock the door. That's also going to be in the very last video that will finally open up that door. But all of this is connected. So like where we're standing right now, we can enter it from either side, from the trenches. Here we got a weapon level up. And we also got a stamina warning, which basically means if you run out of stamina, you can still hit, but it's going to be very, very slow. And it's going to be draining. Here we have the ram head medallion and a report on it. And if you continue on, you'll see we made it back to the APC. There is a new enemy here waiting for us. If the enemies hit you, especially if they're large enemies, it will knock you back. Unfortunately, the cave-in took out our wounded soldier friend, so I guess he won't be needing that med kit anymore. Make your way back to where we came from, and we're actually going to go and open up that door with the 2 ram's head medallions. When you come down here, immediately to the right, this is where we go back down. It can sometimes be a little confusing to remember where that is, but it is pretty much the first place that you can go down in the trenches when you're coming from the APC. It's really not that far. Just make your way back through here and choose the correct ram head medallion for each slot, which is pretty simple because they're shaped differently on the outside. And do beware, because as soon as this door opens, there's an enemy waiting for us. Opening up this door completes the mystery secrets of the ram. There is a glyph inside of this room. Now we can just head right back out. I'm sure this all I'm sure to you this all looks kind of confusing, but I've run through these areas so many times now, I kind of know them by the back of my hand. You'll get used to it. And you can always, if you get confused, you can always back up and see where I am and try to match yourself up with where I am. So let's head out, come back up to these ruins where that limbic door is that we can't get through. We're going to head here. Remember, there were all those trees were there, but when the cave-in happened, it knocked them all down. So back to the APC, we're going to head back to Ernest. There will be a few new enemies here because there were none when we came through the first time, but they're all pretty easy. Again, if you're feeling a little lost, just remember you can follow the wind chimes. The wind chimes will take you back to Ernest. See there? I kind of stopped and was looking around. You could see wind chimes pretty much everywhere. Come over here to this guy and take him out. And this is our first time loop guardian. Every city that we're in has time loop guardians, and before there will also be a time loop, which we haven't seen yet, but we have to collapse every time loop that we come across, And that cannot be done until the time loop guardians are taken out. So if you see one, take him out and he will not return. Now that we're back at
Thank you for
Ernest,
bringing
choose
this watch
trade
back to
and
me.
give him the gold watch. And we get the Good Samaritan trophy. That's for
Gave it to
completing
me.
our first good deed. And if you do look in your data pad, when you complete good deeds or you collapse time loops, you'll see a notice saying that there could potentially be a reward for doing these things later on. It'll be a little bit later, but yes, eventually you will get rewards for doing all of this stuff. Here, I'm just kind of wandering around looking for more enemies, and I'm going to do that a lot of times because one of the trophies that we need in order to get platinum is clearing out every single enemy in the game. And that cannot be done until the time loops are collapsed. Once you collapse a time loop, which means you've taken out all the time loop guardians, then every enemy that you've killed before collapsing that time loop, if you don't leave the area, they will stay dead. Here we unlocked the APC and got the It's Mine Now trophy, because now this is our ride. Here you get the navigation computer, and this is one of those maps I was talking about. There are only 2 places that we can go right now. We are in Senedra Forest right now, and we need to travel to Acasa Marshes because that's the only other place that we know about. So you can go ahead and select that, and we are going to drive away. So pretty much what we went through was kind of like an introduction to the entire game. Here we kind of get the real opening sequence, which I did leave in because it is quite cool. I like it a lot. I will say, if you have played this far and you are not enjoying the game, I wouldn't put it down right away. I would give it a little bit more time, especially if you're not enjoying the combat particularly. It does get better, especially as you upgrade your weapons and you familiarize yourself with each area. It really does get better, and I do hope that if you're playing for your first time, that you're playing balanced. Really, easy is too easy. It's fine for this guide because it goes faster. The enemies don't take as long to take out, but in my opinion, for entertainment purposes, balanced is a much better option. So now that we have been properly introduced to Hell Is Us, we can really get started. And we're going to meet a couple of people along the way. Like right now it's just Remy, and he does have Cappy, but you know, Cappy doesn't say too much. Here, after that, you will get a cutscene, and occasionally when you're traveling in the APC, you will get cutscenes. This strange person that we don't know yet is going to talk to us. I am going to skip that cutscene, but I recommend you watch it. And here we are in Acasa Marshes, and that's where we're going to end this video. So thank you all so much for watching. Please come back in part 2, where we will discover Acasa Marshes. Until then, Khajiit always has wares.